So I think the world can expect a great deal of disruptions in US policy at a very critical time when wars and crises require attention, and also at a time when the UN Secretary General says the world is passing through an age of chaos. Donald Trump's return to the White House has been a stunning comeback. It'll make him a more powerful president than he was before, because not only has he won the presidency and the popular vote, his Republican Party has won the Senate, and it is close to winning control of the House of Representatives. So the question is, will his foreign policy mimic his first term's America First approach, which really translated into an America Alone approach? Will his foreign policy prove as destabilising and as disruptive as it was in his first term? So I think the assessments that are being drawn up across the world, they're being influenced by an important factor. And that is the perception that Washington's engagement with the world in recent years has neither been sustained nor consistent, which of course raises questions about US reliability. And this at a time when the US is no longer the dominant sole power in the world, which is much more multipolar, and which obviously then places limits on US ability to shape global geopolitics and determine outcomes. So Trump's unpredictable, impulsive personality will clearly intensify uncertainty about US policy. His America First point of view is a unilateralist worldview, and that can create a lot of discontinuity, which I think the world seems to be now bracing itself for. But I think if there's one certainty, which has of course implications for global security, and that is that Trump will continue the now well-established US policy of containing China. Trump might even escalate the confrontation over trade and technology issues. During the campaign, he threatened to impose 60% tariffs across the board on all Chinese imports and to end China's most favored nation status. Now, whether he raises tariffs to this extent is doubtful, because he'll have to calculate the impact on the American consumer, because higher tariffs will inevitably mean costlier imports, and that would mean that it'll fuel further inflation, which is already a challenge in America. But, during the campaign, Trump also said that he wanted a good relationship with China. He said, for example, that he respected President Xi Jinping, and he also respected China. So, Trump might take a tough position on trade issues, sure, but his business instincts will urge him to be transactional and open to striking deals with China on both trade and perhaps other contentious issues. Where I think a radical change in US policy is likely is on the Ukraine war. Trump clearly wants that war to end. He will likely press Ukraine and Russia into talks to get to some kind of a peace accord. And he may not be averse to an outcome that favors Moscow, in which Ukraine has to cede territory. So he's unlikely to really take on board the worries or the concerns of European countries, many of whom he feels have been freeloaders. He's been critical, for example, of NATO. He's even said that the US should leave NATO. Now, whether he actually does that or not is an open question. But certainly, European allies have much to worry about. Now, as for the crisis in the Middle East, that presents a clear and present challenge. And this Trump might seek to address by forcing a ceasefire in Gaza. But during the campaign, he avoided specifics. He repeatedly said during the campaign he wants to see peace in the region, and Israel should end the war quickly, of course, by winning it, and as he put it, finishing the job. He, in fact, is even more pro-Israel than President Joe Biden, and he certainly has no empathy for the plight of the Palestinian people. Trump has also shown very little commitment to a two-state solution, although that remains America's formal position on this issue. So any deal he might push for, I think, will be on Israel's terms and will also aim to expand the Abraham Accords, goading other Arab countries to also accede to this, which was his signature Middle East initiative in his first term. He'll try to get Saudi Arabia to normalize ties with Israel, even though Riyadh has said quite clearly that it will not do so unless a Palestinian state is established. So we can, safely say that unpredictability is likely to be the hallmark of Trump's foreign policy. But because he has a transactional view of international relations, it would also open up his policies to pragmatic possibilities. I mean, he may show flexibility because he's so transactional in his dealings. So I think the world can expect a great deal of disruptions in US policy at a very critical time when wars and crises require attention, and also at a time when the UN Secretary General says the world is passing through an age of chaos.